All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little San Francisco Giant video. Check out Pig and a Pickle, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And this video also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check that link in the description. Use the promo code KRUG, K-R-U-E-G, and they will match you up to your first $100. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the Krug Show. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Giants. Farhan Zaidi, Giants general manager, called Yoshinobu Yamamoto his white whale. That was the free agent that he had to have. That was his guy. They'd been in on him for years. And they were absolutely not going to be outbid. But they were outbid. How could that happen? How could you vow to not be outbid and still be outbid? It's a very interesting situation. But Yamamoto signed, as everybody knows at this point, 12 years, $325 million with the Dodgers. Now, there's a lot of things, a lot of angles on this. One, I mean, the Dodgers are either having the greatest offseason of all time or the worst offseason of all time. They gave Tyler Glasnow a $175 million extension long-term. He's never pitched 150 innings in the big leagues in any one particular season. And I think he's only got 3 seasons over 100 innings. So they paid a ton of money to extend Glasnow after they traded for him. They signed Shohei Ohtani to a $700 million deal. He deferred huge amounts of that contract. But at the end of the day, that's a lot of money if he winds up only being a DH. And then this deal, Yoshinobu Yamamoto gets a 12-year, $325 million deal. There's a lot to wonder about here. I mean, you're talking about a 5'10", 170-pound pitcher who reminds me an awful lot of Tim Lincecum. Why? Because he's the same size. He's got the same kind of motion, really, even though Lincecum's motion was quite unique. Yamamoto's motion is very, very similar. And he's got a power arsenal with great, great command. So in a lot of ways, he reminds me of Lincecum. So in a way, maybe the Giants dodged a bullet just from the standpoint that Lincecum probably only had 4 or 5 really good years. And Yamamoto's signing for 12 years. What's he going to look like? And he's already pitched 7 years in Japan. So he pitched 7 years in Japan, and he just signed a 12-year deal. I think it's probably likely that he only really has 4 or 5 good years. But maybe the Dodgers don't care. Maybe they just have that kind of money. I mean, it's an unbelievable commitment. A 12-year commitment for a small power pitcher. So we'll see if it works out for them. We'll see if Ohtani works out for them. What's undoubtedly true is that signing Yamamoto and signing Ohtani gives the Dodgers an ability to market and sell merchandise in Japan, and that probably pays for both contracts. So at the end of the day, there's probably very little financial risk in paying Yamamoto $325 million and paying Shohei Ohtani $700 million. But I mean, $1 billion plus committed to 2 players. A small power pitcher and a two-way player that may only be a DH for the rest of his career. So either the Dodgers are geniuses or the Dodgers are fools. But at the end of the day, nobody really cares about the Dodgers. We care about the Giants. And at what point are the Giants going to actually start to land big-time free agents? Now, Susan Slusser says her sources say that the Giants could not have done any better than they did in the Yamamoto sweepstakes. I'm not questioning her sources, but to me it sounds like PR spin. It sounds like, please, fans, don't rip us for not landing this free agent that we've been pursuing for over a year. We failed in another free agent attempt, but fans, don't blame us. It's out of our hands. It just seems like a very convenient excuse, and you kind of wonder, Are these real sources or are these sources agents or Farhan? If an agent says, hey, the Giants did everything they can, well, why would an agent say anything? Why would the agent bash a team? The agents need the teams to bid on their players. A guy like Scott Boras has got lots and lots and lots of premier players. He's going to do the Giants a solid and say, oh, yeah, they absolutely did the most they could. And maybe they did. But at the end of the day, that is kind of Farhan's job, is to make San Francisco and the Giants an attractive destination. Now, what makes it an attractive destination? Having a good team. Players don't want to sign long-term to lose. They want to win. So what does Farhan really need to do to attract free agents? He needs to build a winning team. Okay, so and it's almost like a catch-22 now for the Giants because they need to sign. Their farm system really has never produced to any really consistent degree. So they need to sign free agents to win games. They need to win games to attract free agents. So what's going to be the key here? What's going to be the turnaround? How are they ever going to sign free agents if free agents don't want to play there because they're not a winning team? And yet, how are they ever going to be a winning team if they can't go out in the free agent market and sign top-tier free agents? So they're kind of caught in between. And it basically, at the end of the day, they're going to have to draft and develop their way out of this. If you draft and develop players, you can trade off those surpluses and get players in the trade market. Or you can promote those guys to the big leagues and let them play for you. But that's where it all starts for the Giants, is they got to do a better job of drafting, developing, and promoting their minor league prospects to the big leagues, or they're going to have the same tired song and dance. And I just think also this report that the Giants could not have done a better job. I mean, who are we fooling here? So now it's like, we're going to reward everybody who loses. Your process was awesome. Everything you did was amazing. Your courtship was perfect. You couldn't have done any more. Well, I'll tell you one thing you could have done better. You could have found out earlier on that you were being used as a stalking horse. That nobody else, that these players really don't want to play for you, and they're just using you to drive up the money for on places they really do want to play. So I guess you could read Susan's article and be like, well, Farhan's still the greatest. Man, he's awesome. He did everything right. He just lost out. Well, at some point, it really doesn't matter why you lose, just that you lose. And, ultimately, you're not going to win games if you can't land talent. And it doesn't sound like you're going to be able to land talent until you win games. So what's the solution? The solution is you're going to have to do a better job of selling your team, or you're going to have to develop a better team and convince baseball players and agents of baseball players and maybe wives of baseball players that you're an attractive destination. Right now, baseball is made up of the haves and the have-nots, and you would think that a team like the Giants, an iconic franchise in an incredible city, with a world-class ballpark, would be one of the haves. They're incredibly rich. They're in a first-class metropolitan city. They play in a top-flight facility, but they're not winners. And Tom Verducci crushing Farhan and his whole approach to baseball operations in September probably didn't help. So I'm not sure what to say about this for the Giants. I'm a big fan of Jorge Soler. I would love to see them go take some of the money that they were going to earmark for Yamamoto and go sign 2 or 3 pitchers. Maybe see if you can get Marcus Stroman and Blake Snell. Maybe see if you can make a trade. But the Giants don't have the bevy of prospects that it's going to take to make a lot of trades. So they're going to have to go sign guys in free agency. And Farhan seems very, very hesitant to overpay in any dramatic fashion. And yet, when you're one of the have-nots and you're living in a city that's getting bashed on television left and right, you're going to have to overpay. And until they make that commitment to say, yeah, you know what? Doesn't matter. We're going to overpay and we're going to get guys. Until they do that, they're not going to get guys. And so, people say, well, I'd rather have Snell at a discount than Yamamoto. Why are you getting Snell at a discount? I mean, that seems like wishful thinking at best. So they're in a tough spot. They need to sign players to be good. They need to be good to sign players. But at least they've got, favorable media that says that they're doing everything right. But they're just not getting it done. So I wonder if those same people that are saying right now in the offseason, they're doing everything right, they're just not getting it done. Will they have that same grace for the players who aren't getting it done in July and August and September? Will that be an acceptable excuse to the fans of why the team didn't win? Is they sure are trying. They're taking BP, they're taking infield. They're really, really trying. Is that going to be the answer that fans want to hear? My guess is that's not going to work. So the Giants have their yes men. They're out there in abundance saying, way to go, Giants. But we don't have any real big-time free agents to look at and say, yeah, they're a better team. So I don't know how this is going to solve itself. But Farhan's clock is ticking. The fans are growing impatient. And the top-tier free agents are coming off the board. And Farhan better get busy because it's almost January 1st, and he doesn't have anything really to show for his offseason. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Good luck to the Giants in their pursuit of free agents. I don't know what the solution is. You got to win to get free agents. You got to get free agents to win. What's going to come first? How is this trend going to solve itself? How is this trend going to reverse itself, I should say? We're going to find out. But thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Check that link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they'll match you up to your first $100. And thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.